Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Senior hanging out here with you. Hope everybody out there is having a great Friday, getting ready for a fantastic weekend. Our coverage from the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis continues. We've been giving you some great coverage all throughout the week, and that's going to continue because this is the standard for Eagles Talk right here on YouTube. Videos every single day that are insightful, informative, thought-provoking, creative, and hopefully entertaining. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button, and of course keep in mind, as I'm recording this on February 28th, NFL free agency is right around the corner, followed by the NFL draft. So we're going to continue to give you all things Eagles right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Coming up here on the show, major developments on the Eagles' potential interest of Myles Garrett and some coaching news this morning from Indianapolis as the Eagles have hired a new quarterbacks coach. Let's begin with the latest around Myles Garrett. Everything that I've heard, everything that I've gathered, in addition to what NFL insiders are reporting, are this. The Eagles are real players for one of the top pass rushers in the National Football League and the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. And there continues to be a lot of chatter in Indy that the Eagles could seriously trade for Myles Garrett. And this has been a storyline that's kind of been simmering among NFL people all week long. And I know I talked about this earlier this week here on the show, but the NFL Combine is kind of like a job fair. It's kind of like a job conference. All 32 teams are represented in some way, shape, or form. There are NFL players who are here with their agents getting ahead of free agency. Of course, there are draft prospects here doing testing drills, meeting with the media, meeting with teams in the lead up to their top 30 visits in the NFL draft. And there are a lot of NFL insiders who are walking around, talking to teams, chopping it up with sources, speaking with agents, getting a lot of information in a lead up to a massive event, which is free agency, and on top of that, another massive event in the NFL draft. And so naturally being here, you see all types of NFL people walking around. You're involved in conversations. It's a very friendly environment where you get to introduce yourselves to a lot of people and network a little bit. You hear a lot of reports. You hear a lot of buzz. You hear a lot of chatter about what teams might do. And so the Eagles' interest in Myles Garrett, from everything that I've kind of gathered, seems to be real. And there was a new development yesterday which got the wheels turning once again, that Myles Garrett is not open to a contract extension with the Cleveland Browns, as the team remains adamant it will not give in to the star pass rusher's trade request. He's saying, you know what, I don't want to be here any longer. And then there was this from Dianna Russini of The Athletic today, who said a couple of things to report on the Garrett front. Quote, here's what some people are saying right now, that Howie Roseman is willing to move on from some of these guys. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, potentially Mekhi Becton. Those names I'm just throwing out there because those are the names that make sense. Then she further continues by saying, to make a big swing, and that big swing could be for Myles Garrett. Some of these guys that you think are sure things to return to Philadelphia might not be sure things to return to Philadelphia. That's juicy stuff right there. And Dianna Russini, very tapped in and has a lot of inside sources of the inner operations of a lot of NFL front offices. And so a couple of things come to mind when I see that report, and obviously when I've been given the information that I've been given. What is the asking price going to be for Myles Garrett, number one? Are the Cleveland Browns going to budge and move him? Because as we know, as we discussed here on the show, we played the sound clip. Brown general manager Andrew Berry said it himself. We are still not interested in trading Myles Garrett away. Also, if the Eagles trade for Myles Garrett, that probably does trigger a looming contract extension. I know the Eagles are in the thick of this Super Bowl window. They have a lot of their prime young players in their primes under contract, but are they comfortable giving out a lot as far as compensation goes? Excuse me. And also handing out a contract extension to Myles Garrett. All of those things obviously play a role in what is going to transpire over the next several weeks. But also of note is that Howie Roseman used to be Andrew Berry's boss. And so that direct line of communication is there. And Howie could say, you know what, Andrew, you're not competing anytime soon. Myles Garrett wants out. He's not going to sign that extension with you. As you know, you learned under me. Why does it make sense to hold on to an edge rusher on a rebuilding team who's 29 and wants to sign a new deal? Here's an offer that you cannot refuse, Andrew. A number 1 this year, a number 2 next year. That helps streamline your rebuilding process. You can pick up some players who you really like, and then we'll give you Tanner McKee. Because Deshaun Watson just tore his Achilles again. Tanner McKee has starting ability, and that's our offer for you. Howie Roseman is one of the most aggressive general managers in the game. He always makes splashes. He always goes after stars, and he values the trenches, maybe more than any other general manager in the game. And so this trade for Myles Garrett fits the profile of how Howie Roseman conducts himself, building teams and the moves that he makes. And so that's why Philadelphia cannot be ruled out. So I give you today's poll question. I want to hear from you down in the comments section. Do you want the Eagles to trade for Myles Garrett? Share your thoughts with me down in the comment section right now. Story number 2 of the day. The Philadelphia Eagles have hired a quarterbacks coach to replace Doug Nussmeier, who followed Kellen Moore to New Orleans. Doug Nussmeier was the Eagles quarterbacks coach in 2024. He is now the new offensive coordinator with the New Orleans Saints under Moore. He was with Moore in Dallas. He followed Moore to the Chargers. He followed Moore to Philadelphia, and he's now going to follow him to New Orleans. And so this Eagles coaching staff, coming off that Super Bowl victory in triumphant fashion against Kansas City, has had some changes on that coaching staff. Some of them big coaching staff changes, like this one, quarterbacks coach. And so, according to Adam Schefter, they have hired Scot Loeffler as their new quarterbacks coach. He is a former Michigan quarterback. He's been the head coach at Bowling Green State University for the past 6 years. Led them to a bowl game the last 3 years. That is not easy to do at that program. And some interesting notes on his coaching background. When he was a grad assistant after his playing days at Michigan, he helped with some of the development of Tom Brady when he was at Michigan. He also helped to coach Tim Tebow, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of college football, while at Florida. And so he was a student assistant at Michigan, 96-97, grad assistant, 98-99, coaches quarterbacks at Central Michigan, 2000-2001. He is the Michigan quarterbacks coach, 2002 to 2007. His alone year and last year in the NFL was in 2008 with the Detroit Lions, quarterbacks coach. Then he was at Florida, 2009-2010, Temple University as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2011, Auburn offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2012, Virginia Tech OC QB's coach 2013 to 2015, Boston College OC and quarterbacks coach 2016 to 2018, then the Bowling Green head coach 2019 to 2024, and now the Philadelphia Eagles quarterbacks coach in 2025. Couple of football nerds who have Twitter accounts who tweet out a lot of plays and play designs and nerd out on the nuances of offensive football said this is a great hire. They take a lot of the play concepts and play designs from him as plays that they like for modern concepts, and so that is a plus. All of his work with quarterbacks is also a plus. All of that experience has to be a good thing too. And so I think this is a pretty solid hire from what I've been able to gather here at the NFL Combine for this Eagles coaching staff under Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, of course. And he's also a fiery guy. He once got ejected for 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties as a head coach. So him and Sirianni on that sideline, that could result in a lot of fun fireworks. So wanted to pass along all of that information here on Eagles Now. I'm sure a lot of you have already commented about it here on the show. Chase, you look tired. Get some sleep. I haven't gotten sleep all week. I've had a wild week. A lot of things have happened as far as somebody getting shot out in front of our Airbnb and killed. I haven't been able to sleep because I've been sick. And it's been a long week, a fun week, a lot of great content. But yeah, I'm wearing it on my face. But the content doesn't stop. We're still in Indy, baby. That's why you subscribe. Go Birds. All right, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. and I'll catch you next time here on the show. Peace.